You know, in this crazy fast world we live in, your ability to learn faster than everyone else isn't just a nice little advantage. It's basically your superpower. But here's the thing. Most of us are stuck using these old school, super inefficient learning habits that are just holding us back. So today, we're going to dive into the science of how to truly upgrade your mind. I love this quote. It just perfectly nails the whole idea. It's not about brute force, you know? It's not about just grinding out more hours. It's all about the preparation. It's about working smarter. The person who takes the time to sharpen their tools will always beat the one who just starts hacking away. And that's what we're talking about today. Learning how to learn is sharpening your axe. So you got to ask yourself, are you spending all your energy just hacking away with a dull blade? I mean, really think about it. Are the study habits you've been using for years actually slowing you down? Making things way harder than they need to be? Maybe even costing you opportunities? I mean, just look at that dull axe column. Does any of that ring a bell? Rereading your notes over and over, highlighting entire chapters, cramming at the last second? That's the default setting for so many of us. But the science is absolutely clear. The real progress, the real sharpening of the axe, comes from active strategies like testing yourself, spacing out your practice, and giving something your undivided attention. Seriously, take a second and think about your own experience. Does that whole cycle of trying to learn something, only to feel like you're spinning your wheels, sound familiar? You know the feeling, right? You're reading the same page for like the third time, thinking, okay, I've got it now. You grab that highlighter and half the book ends up bright yellow. Or you're listening to a video, nodding along, feeling like you're absorbing every word. But then, the next day, it's just gone. You can barely remember the main points. Look, this isn't about you failing. It's about your strategy failing you. And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of the problem. It's called the illusion of learning. It's because your brain is basically playing a trick on you. Just recognizing something as familiar feels the same as actually understanding it. But it's not even close. Real deep learning, the kind that actually sticks, only happens when you force your brain to pull that information out of your memory, all on its own. Okay, so how do we actually start sharpening that axe? Well, our first science-backed strategy is all about this. You have to test yourself. It's time to stop the passive rereading and start actively recalling. So this first technique is called active recall, and I want you to think of your memory like a muscle. Passively reading a book is like watching somebody else lift weights at the gym. Sure, it feels kinda productive, but you're not actually building any muscle. Active recall is when you grab the weights and you do the reps. It's harder, it's a struggle, and that's exactly why it works. And get this, the data is absolutely stunning. Studies have shown that students who just passively reread stuff only remembered about 29% of it later. But the students who used active recall to test themselves, they retained 57%. I mean, you can nearly double your retention just by making this one switch. That's not a small tweak, that is a total game changer. And the best part? You can start doing this right now. It's so simple. First, you learn the material. Read the chapter, watch the video, whatever. Then, and this is the key, you close the source. Put the book down. And finally, you have to retrieve it from your memory. Try writing down a summary. Or even better, explain the concept out loud like you're teaching it to someone. That little bit of struggle you feel, that's your brain building that muscle. All right, strategy number 2. This one is all about fighting back against something our brains naturally do. Forget stuff. The second you learn something new, a timer starts. Scientists call it the forgetting curve. And our secret weapon to defeat it is to space out our learning. It's a technique called spaced repetition, and it is seriously powerful. Here's how it works. Your brain starts dumping new info almost immediately, but every single time you review that information, especially right when you're about to forget it, you hit pause on that forgetting process and you make the memory stronger. Think of it this way. It's like watering a plant just a little bit right when it needs it, instead of drowning it all at once and then letting it dry out. Just how efficient is this? Well, it's kind of mind-blowing. One study found that in just 4 months, you could learn and retain 3,600 facts with over 90% accuracy, all with just 30 minutes of practice a day. Now, put that up against cramming all night for an exam only to forget it all a week later. I mean, it's not even a fair fight. Okay, strategy number 3. And full disclosure, this one might be a tough pill to swallow for some of us, because we're about to bust a huge modern myth. It's time to just do one thing. It's time to kill the idea of multitasking. Because, let's be real, the science is crystal clear. Multitasking is a miss. What your brain is actually doing is something called task switching, and it absolutely destroys your productivity. The research shows that jumping back and forth between tasks can cost you up to 40% of your productive time. Just think about that. That's like throwing away almost half your workday just to the mental friction of switching gears. But wait, it gets even worse. That same task switching has been shown to temporarily drop your IQ by about 10 points. To put that in perspective, that's a bigger cognitive hit than you'd get from smoking marijuana. So yeah, every time you think you're being productive by learning and checking your email, you are literally, temporarily making yourself dumber. So what's the solution? It's simple, really. Embrace monotasking. True, deep focus is a superpower. Just 1 hour of completely uninterrupted, focused work can produce the same results as 3 hours of scattered, distracted multitasking. So close the extra tabs. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You have to protect your focus. Treat it like it's the most valuable thing you have, because honestly, it is. And that brings us to our last strategy. And this one's a little different. It's less about a specific technique and more about how you think. To really learn effectively, you have to be okay with being bad at something, at least for a little while. It's all about having a growth mindset. A growth mindset is this core belief that your intelligence, your abilities, they can be developed. You can get better through hard work. It's the total opposite of a fixed mindset. When you say something like, "Ugh, I'm just not a math person," you're slamming a door shut in your own brain. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you believe you can get better, you will. I absolutely love this next quote because it just says it all. Every expert you look up to was at one point a total beginner, a fumbling disaster. The people who learn the fastest are the ones who are willing to check their ego at the door and be okay with looking a little bit stupid for a while. They're okay with being the person in the room who knows the least because they know that's where the real learning happens. And here is a super simple but incredibly powerful mental trick you can use. The next time you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good at this," just add one little word to the end, yet. I'm not good at this, yet. It's such a small change, but it totally reframes the problem. It's not a permanent failure anymore. It's just a point on a journey. It opens the door to growth. So let's put it all together. Active recall, spaced repetition, monotasking, a growth mindset. These aren't just little tips and tricks. I want you to think of these as fundamental upgrades to your brain's operating system. Because learning how to learn is the ultimate meta skill. It's the one skill that makes learning every other skill that much easier. So there you have it. You have the tools, you have the whetstones to sharpen your axe. The only question left is, what are you going to sharpen first? Which one of these strategies are you going to put into practice today to start learning smarter, not harder?